Hey everybody, it's Cinnamon Cootie, your Art Sherpa. I'm going to show you today how you can actually paint for yourself a watercolor from this village by the sea, this very famous village by the sea. This is the second time we painted this. I actually did it on my acrylic channel, and now we're going to do this in watercolor, but we're going to use a very special technique. We're going to use something called line and wash. And what?
I'm just, no, sorry. You keep going.
What is it?
I see my focus card behind
Oh, okay. I was like, what has happened to me?
Nothing.
I just thought I was falling out of my top or something horrifying.
No,
I am that tired sometimes. It can happen. My husband just made the
This is
funny.
a live show.
It is a live show. Hi. So
Hi.
glad that didn't happen. I don't want to be
doing again?
viral for that reason at all.
That's-
I'd like to be viral for my skill.
They'll kick you off OnlyFans now.
Here today on OnlyFans, we're going to paint a blue tit. So,
You just got banned on YouTube.
who needs to be monetized?
That's right.
Anyhow,
Okay.
did you come here for painting? I would like to show you how you can paint. So I'm going to be using a technique called line and wash, which is using a waterproof ink and a kind of drawing out method. And what this does, it allows you to sort of anchor an image so that you can practice loose and expressive watercolor techniques without being so lost in trying to keep every line and edge. And it's really beginner friendly. It allows you to do some very complex stuff early because you don't get stressed out in your own way. And you can be doing it all kinds of things with stuff at home. Like I've figured out that a Bic pen is also waterproof. So there's a lot of ways to do it. A regular HB pencil will do this. I like a black line, but an HB pencil will do this. Today I'm going to be painting on 140-pound watercolor paper. I know I beat this drum, but I really don't think, I think the first thing that you get yourself if you're trying to paint watercolors is the paper. That's the first upgrade. And the reason for that is a good paper gives you a much better result. It helps the techniques work. It prevents a bunch of unnecessary aggravation in your life. And what you're looking for is 140-pound or 30 GM. Now you can go up to 300, but I think 140-pound is just fine starting out. It gets more expensive the higher the weight. I'm doing extra white 100% cotton from the Faber-Castell line in a watercolor block, which means all the edges of my paper are glued down. That's going to make it really nice for me to do very wet techniques and not have my paper buckle. I've got all kinds of cool stuff here with me today for my painting. I have frisket set aside in case I need a frisket. I've got salt over here somewhere, I think, in case I need salt. We've got all the things, rubbing alcohol, all the things. But today it's probably going to be just a very straightforward lesson. The colors on my palette are Payne's Gray, Nickel Azo Yellow, Hansa Yellow Medium, Pyrrole Red, Quinacridone Magenta, Ultramarine Blue, Phthalo Blue, Opera Pink, Transparent Pyrrole Orange, Burnt Umber, Quinacridone Gold, and Phthalo Green. I use these colors just consistently through the year 2021 to allow you guys to build up a base core art supply set. I'm going to be painting, I would normally do my quill, but I can't find my quill right now, so I've got a 3/4 inch silver black velvet. I have my very favorite number 14 Raphael Soft Aqua. This is Imitation Squirrel. And so I don't believe that this is, but this is Imitation Squirrel. And I also have my bright here from Raphael Soft Aqua that's a number 10. So it's a 3/8 inch wide brush. It's pretty nice. I like them. You can have your own watercolor brushes. I mean, the Royal and Lang Nickel will work. You just want brushes that will carry your watercolor. If you don't have my watercolors, go buy both actually, if my mods can drop the watercolor blog for you guys, we have a blog to introduce you to it. It tells you how to do exchanges, how to work it out. You don't need tube paints. Just all that basic first anxiety that you have as a beginner, like, I don't know if I can paint along. This all seems pretty complicated. It seems complicated, but it's not. I'll tell you what's complicated, making one of those jelly cakes with the little leaves that go in and make the flat. That's complicated. That is difficult to find, difficult to get into, difficult to do. This looks like it is, but actually is very straightforward. I'm also going to be using today my handy dandy Faber-Castell Pitt artist pen. It is waterproof and archival and super black and has a brush tip. You really shouldn't be these should be right in the $3 range. You could be up $1, down $1 depending on sales. Here's my tip. When you look at art materials, initially it seems super expensive, so be sure to bookmark every single online art supply website like Cheap Art Joe's or Dick Blick or Jerry's Artorama or even Hyatt's, anyone that sells art supplies online. There's a really good one in LA, the Art Warehouse. there's a lot of places, right? King's Framing and Art, they all have websites, and check their clearance pages. Everything in art goes on sale on clearance all the time. It's crazy, but it does, and that's when you get those 75% off deals, but they can't really advertise them, so you gotta be a stalker. All right, you guys ready? I'm gonna sip my coffee. Does it seem like I need some?
I think I'm ready. Do I have coffee? I have coffee.
I don't know.
It's over here.
Our son figured out how to make us French press, and I couldn't be more proud.
He likes the science of the squish.
He's excited to do it. It's a really nice convergence of parental need and child interest, like Montessori. Anywho, so I have for you guys, because this is such a complicated scene. It was a complicated scene the first time we did an acrylic, and we kind of try to simplify it. But in this, because it is a complicated kind of scene, I've given you guys a traceable, and there are instructions on the website on the video page on how to use it. But basically, you rub the back of it with the pencil all over the back, and then you trace over the lines that are provided, right? And what happens is then the graphite rubbing transfers to the paper. And since this is a line and wash, you don't even mind the lines of the graphite because it's line and wash. And again, if you want to freehand this drawing, allot yourself about an hour, hour and a half in drawing time. It takes a minute because you have to really decide, what lines do I want to draw? Do I need to draw all the lines? Are there any lines that I don't have to include? Is a very strong form of decisions that you've got to make, right? So you've got to be ready to do that. I'm just making sure I've got all my lines that I want here. Ooh, I didn't get that one. So you just go over the top of the lines provided.
Can you peek?
Can I peek?
Can you peek underneath and not mess it up?
Well, I can try. That's why I tape, but it probably will shift a little. I
so
tape
it's
it
better
down
not
into,
to peek.
yeah, you can. I would always kind of try to lift here.
Okay. I'm
If
just
you
curious.
tape
That's
it, though,
what
you get a better result on being able to check. The
So
tape
it's-
really does help.
So it's like baking. It's better not to look.
It's better to look from the corner. And if you're going to look, you might also want to tape in a second space so the paper's less likely to shift on you.
Multi-tape.
Multi-tape is your friend. I use low-tack tape. We're using stick tape, STIKK, trademark. We got a bunch of it from, I believe, a community member. Did we? Did we buy it or get it? I don't know. Could be either. There's my disclosure. I don't know. So when you have that all down, you can lift that up and you'll see that you'll have a very light little drawing kind of transferred on. Now, if you want to, and you don't want to do the black lining, you could actually use this just to paint, right? It's certainly more than enough lines, and they would be faintly there. But I want these lines to anchor my whole image, right? The other thing I want to make sure I do is I want to set like a water line. So I'm going to take a T-square, and I would come up midway up the cliff. I'll give you the exact measurement down from the top of the page, too, and make a line across here. So that looks like about 4.5 inches down from the top. You'll be doing that. I like to use this T-square. It's about $3. It definitely helps with the straight lines, my friends. Definitely helps. So I'm going to come here and I will take my black pen. This will be, we're going to talk, we're going to visit because this takes a second. And I thought about, trying to get some of this in maybe before we met. And then I thought, oh, why not? We enjoy spending time together. And you guys like to see how it goes in and also kind of how I can see my lines. Things I'm going to do.
There's so much stuff to talk about.
There's so much stuff to do. There's so much going on. So much going on. Oh, my goodness.
You know what I think is unbelievable? They found a supermassive black hole in the center. I'm guessing that's not what you wanted to hear about.
Well, I mean, I'll hear about a supermassive black hole all the time. So I'm going to come along here and kind of imply a little bit of edge here. I don't want to be too about it. I'm just going to have that. I just want to be able to say, oh, there's an edge. I will not be black lining my horizon line in. If you're working ahead of me, you can absolutely do this on your own, or if you want, you can just go right with me. That's another nice thing about real time. You can do it with me.
You can.
If you have questions, be sure and put them all in caps, right? So the mods can see them. And either the moderators will get you your answer or I will answer it live on the show. I think I will do a giveaway. If you're on YouTube, your entry will open at the end of the show. And if you're on Facebook, you can enter now. It's a comment with the hashtag Art Sherpa. I think I'm going to give you guys 2 pins, 2 enamel pins, which we'll show you later.
I'm going to raise your 2 pins, and I'm going to say I'm going to announce that we're making line and wash kits.
Okay. And you have one of those or something to give
away?
away?
No, we're working on them, but people were asking about them. And I'm going to say, we've got those in the works, and we're now finalizing some solutions, but we should be able to offer the kits sans paint, meaning no paint, just the surfaces, the printed surface, and all that kind of stuff. Here, we could say, I'm going to talk to the team and see when they're going to put them up.
They're ready to kill you right now. I can tell you that because you said it, and they didn't know you were going to say it. Well, and now they're sitting there going, John.
That's okay.
We haven't even seen how the watercolor wash sheets work.
Oh, I'm not worried about those. Okay. This is no paint, just the surface.
Oh, well, the surfaces we've got.
Yeah, we got a surface kit, which was requested heavily, and so I'm going to go ahead and put it together and make it released. Now,
I'm going to just be very light and loose about this. And the reason for that is, guys, is that you still want it to look like art. We're not doing an architectural rendering, even though these are a lot of architectural elements. What we're trying to do is capture the color and angles of this environment. And so I'm just going over and kind of loosely capturing these little lines. You can see it's not too big, and I'm just making little angled lines in there. So I will go in and fill in, except unless you live in this village or vacation there yearly, you're not going to be like, that's my house, or that's specifically not my house.
Mm-hmm.
So the general expression of it for the purposes of our artistic exploration is perfectly fine. Just putting in little bits. And remember, we're going to be painting in here too, so the paint's going to help us somewhat kind of talk about some of these things. Right? We don't have to finish every line, because as we come in and put the colors, the little bits of line, guys, the little bits of line, they do a lot. See how I'm just kind of like, oh, a little bit of line. Not every line, a little bit of line. I did a lot of that work in the Tracable for you ahead of time, because I know initially how stressful that is. Eventually, you guys are going to be like, oh, loose and fancy free. What does that actually mean? Do you know, John?
Footloose and fancy free?
Mm-hmm.
I think that means you be dancing.
That'd be something.
Wiggling those parts that we don't like to see wiggled.
Oh, have we gone full Footloose over here? Are you feeling the Footloose?
Product of the 80s, right? Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Speaking of, man. So it's been interesting. For those of you that didn't watch the Bob Ross documentary because you thought they were saying something mean about Bob, they didn't say anything mean about Bob. Maybe a little bit of his personal life came out, but I don't think any of us really care. Like, in the world of HBO and Game of Thrones, it's not even that interesting, right? Just sort of human in what you'd expect from the 80s, and it mostly seems like he's just a pretty good guy who was a pretty nice human overall and liked his kid. But it's been real interesting to see the fire of the internet rain down. Ooh. And so there was a response from BRI to the documentary, which was very interesting, and I definitely would say read it for yourself to make up your own mind. If you're on TikTok, you know what I think, which is that I felt like it was poking a swarm of bees. I felt like the response was the same as taking a stick and going, is that a hive? Boom, 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 boom. Kind of like wrong timing, wrong tone, wrong. Like, get that stuff past a social media PR person before you put it out there. Anyways, catch it before it gets taken down. I know I ended up, you guys know that I was supporting Gary Jenkins after that, just because I'm like, dude, that's, no matter how you look at it, that's pretty raw. You know, let's go by and give his channel some love for him and his wife, and, you know, show that the art community at least cares what happened and all that, which has been great. You guys were amazing going over there and sending love and giving comments and everything. But I actually ended up talking to Gary in the thread, right? Because I had brought up a good point about, it's tough. Legal situations are tough for artists because they either don't know they have a voice or they don't have enough money. Because you can scare an artist half to death with a lawyer, really, seriously. It terrifies them. And we've been sued a few times, so we're not that scared anymore. But when you're new, it's very scary. And so I had made a comment like, you don't know what that was like for them. And he came in and kind of shared his story of what actually happened for him. And apparently 90% of what happened to them wasn't in the documentary, even though it was filmed. And guess whose comments were removed? Our comments are gone.
Whose comments were removed? This is a juicy episode.
It is. It's juicy. I'm spilling tea now. It's very rare that the art world has any tea.
Well, you know what? I would have to say that I always found it very strange that whenever we met people who represented Bob Ross products, they loved us until they
were no longer allowed to talk to us.
I don't know. We don't know. They just mysteriously...
Well, I think we were told specifically by one it was a hard pass for reasons that you might guess.
They did say that there was...
They implied, they inferred.
Sure, they were like... But it was,
but
I would say...
Put a lot more fear and spin on it, you would be like...
We give so few koalas about this because...
John used to work in the video game industry, and in the video game industry, you can get sued by Konami, which we have. You can be sued by Universal.
Yeah, my first legal fight was with Universal Studios. My second was with Konami. And it's like
across multi countries.
Yeah, I've had international lawsuits. It's not that I wanted to go like jump into a lawsuit with anybody.
No, it just used to be that Konami would to shut down their competitors. They would just sue their competitors because small gaming companies, much like what you saw in that documentary, could not withstand the lawsuit. Those types of attorneys are $500 an hour if they're a penny.
Yeah,
and you generally need a couple of them, and they're going to bill a lot of hours. The one in Konami, I think the lawyers got millions of dollars.
Yes, it was not a cheap fight.
No.
Not on either side of that battle. But anyway.
But we had very different resources. Now, we didn't back down. And we learned a lot about, staying calm in the middle of that fire. But I can say that if I were an artist, I'm going to bring a little road here. If I were an artist, I would have felt terrified.
Oh, yeah. Especially if you've not done this stuff before. You don't have experience.
The first time you see a letterhead and you're like, what? Now I see a letterhead and I'm like, send it over to the dudes. We got duders.
This means nothing.
Nothing.
It means nothing until something...
Yeah, it doesn't mean anything. I'm going to tell you some legal advice here, artists. You want to know some legal advice? Little angry emails mean nothing until it's on a letterhead. I'm from a lawyer, and then you just kick it over to your lawyer. And if you can't afford a lawyer, there are lawyers that do pro bono work for artists now because of this.
Just get involved with your local council, your arts council, and say that you need some legal advice, and you'll be hooked up with someone.
Yeah, there because there are attorneys who are like, oh my gosh, artists are not prepared to be in legal battles.
No,
because they're not.
And yeah, it's like we don't give legal advice. We're just some crazy people on the intertubes
who have survived a bunch of legal stuff. So it's like there's experience there, but no.
Don't take any legal advice.
Like if you ever want to be like, did you mention there were attorneys? I'll give you a link. You need a DMCA takedown? I'll give you a link. I will help you out. It doesn't matter how many subs I have on the other channel and on Facebook or anywhere. I'll help you out. You write me. If I see it, right?
We're just.
I have all those things saved.
Yeah, we're the helpful, crazy neighbors. We're gonna
my friend Tamara Laporte over at Willowing has a bunch of spammers that are knocking off her Willowing account, trying to give things away in her name. And this morning I was like, do you need the DMCA takedown? I have that for you. Mm-hmm. Because it's crazy. People don't know.
But we don't give legal advice.
It's just, look, it's a lot of lining, and now we're talking about something a little more salacious and interesting than lining.
Yeah.
Because we're all just tracing together. Are you tracing with me? Are you doing okay in your tracing?
No, I'm just continually walking behind and making sure I give general disclaimers that we're not qualified to give advice on any of this. You shouldn't.
I may not be qualified to give advice on art. I don't know. The jury's out on that. Let's make some rocks. Remember when you're doing the rocks to keep those lines I like to keep them sort of rough. and make sure that my lines with my pen are rock-ish, rock-like.
That's a good question.
What? Oh, I love to answer good questions, and I have answers for everything.
Well,
Do not ever be afraid to ask me a
It's a
question.
wishful question, much like we've been asking. So
Okay.
Is Jenkins going to do a collab with the U Sherpa?
Okay, so I haven't. I actually here, guys. It's my intention to call Jenkins and see if there's an event. Whenever we get to reboot the Sherpa events, I would like to have them out as teachers on that.
As guests and teachers.
I haven't asked them this, so this is pretty stalkery what I'm doing
like
right
you're
here.
Like,
I don't buy me out. There's a painting I think I want to get to support them, and I'm gonna see if they want to maybe come be on the show. And I never do this. Like for my mother, kind of maybe. I might even let them have a minute over on the acrylic channel to talk and do a flower.
Yeah, that'd be
just to get people to realize, like, I don't use my platform for a lot outside of St. Jude. You guys know that. It's kind of like St. Jude. That's my platform. But I might, in this case, given how, and if you know Dana or Steve, I would probably do the same there too. If they wanted, I would be happy to do that and put them up and help them out and do whatever I can. And also would collect too, that just to help. Don't buy me out of paintings. That's why I hadn't told everybody, because I was like, I want to buy a painting, and I was like, I got something I want to buy.
So, yeah, well, the worst thing that can
Keep
happen
my coffee. You have outed me. I don't know what they
did.
think. What do you guys think of that? Is that crazy?
I think everyone should run over right now and buy up all the Jenkins paintings and make it so that Cinnamon has to go to them and say, please paint me something else.
Oh, probably will happen. But that was my first instinct after seeing the documentary. But after the fire and the rage and everything kind of died down, was to go by and make sure that I supported the artists, like find them. I looked for some Steve Ross paintings. I looked for Dana, and I found Gary. Weirdly, because I think my mom is friends with Gary and his wife.
It's
I think they might be. They're certainly Facebook friends, but I feel like actually my mom socially might know them.
Yeah, maybe.
Just because that my mom's weird in that way. Like it's very strange, the people that you will like find out that my mom knows. It's entirely possible that, but hopefully not as Jehovah's Witnesses, but my mom and they might have watched. All right, so getting up to today's show. So remember, if you guys have questions, put those all in caps. Moderators tell everybody how they can enter the giveaway, whether they are on Facebook, on YouTube, and what the kind of guidelines are. If you need to know anything, let us know. And if you are okay with the dish when we're filling up long time for these sort of linings, I hate to pre-record it, even though I probably YouTube should. Just because I like you guys to see that it takes me a certain amount of time, so you're managing your own expectations that you're putting onto yourself. I will go to where we are. Hopefully I don't have sound on. You know how that is, where you're like, oh, I've got some sound on. It doesn't even tell me when I'm on for myself. Is that funny? It doesn't even tell me when I'm on for myself. I'll be like, I've got to like search myself, and then it's like, it's not even telling me I'm on. That's so funny. So I can't do it. I can't find you guys. I'm sorry. It's just going to be one of those days. Don't unsub. We're usually very together here. So John's getting me my coffee, and what we're going to be doing here is we're going to be doing the sky. Now, there's a lovely cloudy sky. There's also a clear sky in a reference. I actually wanted to do kind of maybe a slightly dramatic sky, a slightly interesting sky. So I may change it up a bit. I will be using my little handy dandy sea sponge and a crumpled up paper towel method to do some subtractive work. In my sky painting, I'm going to be using wet into wet. If you don't have good blooming paints, remember that you can add a product called Oxgall. Follow the directions on the package about the number of drops that go into the water. You don't want to do too many. And I don't really measure it out specifically. I just kind of eyeball it. I'm going to be honest. I kind of eyeball it. And I get that into my sponge. Secret tip, into my sponge. Get in there. And wipe this off. So I'm going to pre-wet everything on this side of the line. So come over here and I'm going to pre-wet all this with my number 14 round. And I'm kind of just carefully around the buildings. I don't have to actually be perfect because a lot of what's wonderful about this is that you can be a little bit loose and expressive and carefree. For the big area, I might get into my bigger brush. Oh, what is going on with, did I have charcoal or something on my paper today? It's not really a problem. I think I sharpened something and brought its charcoal dust over my paper. That's how that happened. I could let the paper dry and lift that up, but really, honestly, it's not going to impact with what I'm doing. So, you know, you can do the blue sky. If you want to do that type of blue sky, like in the thing, check the castle and do that sky. But I'm gonna do drama. So I'm gonna take maybe my nickel Azo Yellow and a little of my Hansa Yellow. And I'm gonna come to the bottom. And I'm going to add out a little yellow. I'm going to dance that around. I'm going to rinse out. Come here and make a little half tone. I'm dancing around. See how I'm making irregular shapes?
Mm-hmm. I see your shapes.
Do you see my shapes? Do you see them?
I do.
Good. I'm going to take a little of my Quin. Maybe a little more of the orange come through here.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just letting it all bloom in and kind of work together. You can see it kind of veins out and does interesting, wonderful things.
Good question, Kim.
I have a good answer.
Kim, she's like, would a permanent marker work until I get one of the other pens?
As long as it says waterproof, it will. And if it doesn't say waterproof, you just ink at the end when it's all dry. Yeah. You can test it. I always test it on, when I don't have a pen that's labeled that I can see. What I do is I get a scratch piece of paper and I mark on it and I let it dry and then I go over it with just water or a sponge or something just to see if I can get it to lift at all. And if you can't get it to lift at all, well, there you go. Kind of see where I'm going with this little sky here. Yeah, I'm living on the edge of that, right? Now I'm going to get my Quinacridone and my Ultramarine together, and I'm going to make a lovely purple. Quinacridone and Ultramarine. I'm going to tap this out. I'm just tapping my brush out. Notice that sometimes I pick the brush up and I tap it down, and then little drops come out.
Uh-huh.
And then I'm wiggling it around. The irregular shapes, the allowing maybe some white to show through is also what helps give a little sense of it being sky. And it's a pretty okay sky right now. It's not straight fire yet, but it's a pretty okay sky. I'm going to come in with some Ultramarine Blue up here at the top. Make a little kind of interesting dark mixture there. And I can come in and tap away maybe some cloud forms. Where it's still wet.
Now,
just a couple little cloud shapes can be quite nice.
You have deviated from the reference.
Oh, yeah. Because the reference, we're not stuck with the reference, guys. That's not what we have to do.
Oh, you got all tricky on them.
I did.
All right.
So we went through and we created a really gorgeous sunset. If you want to do a blue sky, just a straight blue sky, you can do that. If you want to do the clouds, we did that in the castle, but I just felt like, why not do something that really kind of does kind of amazes us, right? Remember, you can put down drops of water and you can push pigment. Do you see how that's happening?
Yeah.
If I put down drops of water, I can push a little pigment here and there. I can also come in, especially with my nickel Azo Yellow, and work a little bit of this color back through.
Of all the nickels, that's the one you use the most.
I love it. I love it. Now I'm going to make some wiggles of this and take my nickel Azo Yellow and I'm going to come here and kind of just wiggle in. Making those little kind of weird little cloud forms, aren't they?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that got real fast, didn't it? You can also come back with a little bit of purple, which is the Quin and the Ultramarine Blue. You can add a little bit of like inverted painting where we're painting kind of the negative space of the cloud, creating kind of a little sense of that. I don't want to take out, see that weird little white spot that happened there? I don't want to take that out. I need that. That's very artful. I like that. So I'm not going to remove it. But now I've kind of created a sense of maybe that cloud formed just a little bit, didn't I?
Yeah.
Break it down, break those two up. What? I know.
You know, I find myself waiting for my daughter outside her school for hours on end, staring at the sky, looking at all the clouds.
Anybody? Child.
My kid.
My kiddo. Yeah, so our eldest is into theater, and Dad got the pickup. And, of course, you know, the amount of time from the come pick me up call and the coming out of the theater.
And the school has, of course, some sort of suppression device where they don't allow signal in or out of that, you know, apocalypse-like building.
It's so true.
I mean, it's really cool out here. And, you know, it's like, I'm not saying, but it's like, you know, they've got some sort of suppression field where, like, no children shall have internet. Cut off all their cellular.
I'm going to rinse out. I'm going to come in and get a little of my transparent Pyrrole Orange. And in the front of that purple cloud, I'm going to do that. I like that. See how we did that, where we made the front?
Looking all cloudy.
But you kind of like warm it as it comes back. So now this is quite a sky. Maybe a sky you didn't even know you could do in watercolor. Bring a little cloud back here, a little darker clouds coming in from the village. Perhaps, right? Look at that. It's just too fun to play with. And we haven't even gotten to this gorgeous, colorful village yet. I'm going to make sure that that's picked up for next. I want a nice edge when I come back in. All right. That's my sky. What do you guys think of that? Tell me what your thoughts are. Add the hashtag Art Sherpa so you can be entered in the giveaway. But if you're on YouTube, do it after the show. It doesn't work during the live show. You have to wait till the live stream is over so the comment section opens to you, because that's the only place the random comment picker works. And if you're on Facebook, you can do it anytime you want, because the random comment picker. And I'll post the rules and giveaways and dates and times after. Not affiliated with anything in any way. It's just a goofy thing we're doing.
It's an awesome thing we're doing.
I think it's awesome. Okay, so we have so many things going on here. And we've already set quite a stage with the sky, didn't we?
What's Oxgall?
Ooh, Oxgall is exactly what it sounds like.
Oh no, poor oxes.
But what it does is it breaks the surface tension of the water.
Can I say on a plus side, it's an all-natural product.
I can't read it. You've got your glasses on.
I'm fixing the focus.
When you can read what they have. They have like,
I'll say it. What it says.
You know.
Now, this is definitely in Japanese and says.
No, there's a little bit of English. There's tiny
artist
little
grade
bit.
wetting agent, Holbein Oxgall, when mixed with watercolor, will improve flow and enhance wetting and wet techniques. It also improves the acceptance of watercolor on paper, particularly hard-sized papers. Warning: we can skip that part.
Yeah, you can be allergic to it. So, as with all our products, be smart, yo.
Yep, it's nothing. It's just basically it says, hey, you may have an allergic reaction. Watch out.
Now I'm going to take some of these. John's here. I'm going to go ahead and go opera pink. You guys can just do like whatever color that you want and get into the orange. And I'm going to do something sort of interesting. I'm going to come over here away from my buildings.
What is there, a zoning law or something?
And I'm going to make some very loose implied architectural shapes that could be here. They're sort of geometric. Do you see that?
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll come in, I'll get some phthalo blue maybe.
I hear all these wonderful dings. Thank you for all the generosity out there, guys. You guys really don't know how much you make what we do possible, and I just appreciate it so much. It's pretty magical, so thank you.
What this is over here to the left, our buildings are going to be very loose. They're just going to be bright colors that we go, oh, wow, that's kind of crazy. Just a run of bright colors. So that when we come to our buildings that have shape, when we kind of paint through them in loose colors, it's going to create a sense of wonder with it.
Mm.
Right? And you do. You want a sense of wonder.
I wonder how you did that.
Mm. This is one of the hardest things in all of my years being on YouTube to paint that I ever did. When we did the first one in acrylic, just even to paint it loose, I'm going to paint like a little pink here. When we went to paint it loose, it was always just harder than you think. I'm going to move this little pink around. See how it's like almost like a flesh tone? Get a little yellow. This is what we're doing. Get a little orange. Go into maybe a little bright pink. Get a little green going. And it's okay that it mutes a little bit with the pink. You're just trying to pull in unexpected. What is that? I don't know.
Kind of Robin King just kept going. Ding, ding, ding.
Robin King, thank you.
I was like, there's so many dings. Thank you, Robin. It's like
all right, add a little red. Do you see how we're going through and kind of almost there's in the skies in this village? As the sky, so be the village. Or some sort of saying like that.
It's like the Perseids have just passed through, rained all those magical stars on us.
Thank you.
That's a super, awesome meteor shower.
He's explaining the meteor shower. I'm going to get a little bit of a light orange too. Now, coming to this outer edge, just to make sure that there's contrast between this line and the sky, right? I can be much lighter. I can be much darker. I can have hues to do that. I'm definitely going to use some hues. I'm going to come along here and kind of make sure this edge is blue. That's the whole reason why, though. Pull that back. I thought I was going to go take some buildings up above, but I don't think I will. But you can see that works. And once it's blue, I can go right back into brighter colors that are maybe very close to what the village is, but this just lets me enjoy that. I'm going to get some orange here and kind of work it in a couple places. Oh, that's just lovely. Do you guys see how quickly and beautifully that village can go in?
Oh, thank you, Robin. She's such a nice things to say.
Thank you, Robin.
Is there any rhyme or reason for the color other than light to dark? Lily asks.
Yes. So, unfortunately, I'm going to add some little points here.
All right.
When you've painted for a while, you'll start to get a sense of the color schemes that work for you, that balance for you, right? Mm-hmm. And so in every artist that's well versed in what they do, there is a rhyme or reason to their color scheme. For me, decisions that I made is, well, this one was sort of arbitrary. I just wanted to do a sunset sky, and I decided the most fun sunset sky was orange to purple. Yep, I knew I wanted to do a loose rainbow space here, and I knew that along this ridge, I'd have to have bluer, cooler colors to hold it. And I liked all the oranges and reds in the village, so I thought I would let that be sort of focal here for that. And so that was kind of the thinking. I'm really working quite almost all of my split palette to do this. But this isn't specifically Tradic or split complementary or any of that, okay? And those are really cool. If I can send you to somebody, Bob Burridge, Bob Blast does a really great explanation of a fantastic color scheme that you can do. I do it, a lot of artists do it, and he does a good explanation of that, which I should do too. But like with my own words. What's up? You're gonna ask a question.
I think things are just awesome.
Okay, so we have that there. Now we have some landscape we've got to paint. We've started to do some village stuff. We've got some stone. We've got some water. So there's stuff going on, right? It's a very interesting place. I'm going to go ahead and I think I'm going to get into my Quinacridone Gold up here, which is kind of like a burnt sienna. And I'm going to at first maybe do a very light wash of it, I think. I don't want to lose some of the light values that are here. Gonna tap out maybe a few little plateaus. I'm gonna make kind of straight across lines. Can you guys see how the lines are? Mm-hmm. Kind of a way to speak about the carving out of this hill. I might go ahead and get a little green and Quinacridone Gold together. They're really nice. I'm gonna add some yellow to it just to. I'm going to tap my brush up and down and make little dots, but because the paper's a little wet, they'll soften. And that'll give me a nice little sense of plant life. You see that sort of going in there very lightly. It just is this. I'm going to bring my little burnt umber here and kind of make some dark marks. Mm-hmm. Just to create value. I'm being light about it. I'm not just and in. Sometimes it's about just being a little restrained in your watercolor. Making little kind of organized marks. I like it. I'm just saying I do. Little green and burnt umber is kind of nice too because it creates some good deep foliage. I'm going to take a nice dark quin along here above these little gray stones, which are going to be ultramarine and burnt umber to really start with. Maybe some peachy color, but a lot of ultramarine and burnt umber. So, doing well. Darkening this perhaps next to the houses. Phthalo Green. Phthalo Green top up here.
Yeah.
Little bits of village life. A foot is a foot. Do the same kind of coming down. It's really rather nice and delicate. Okay, I'm going to be really honest. I'm having a lot of fun with this. I am. Very much. Similar up here. I'm going to wet this now that it is all kind of worked in. Come get this very light color. We'll start with that. Painting this light. It's the burnt sienna, maybe a little of the orange and opera pink coming together, making kind of a very peachy area. And what's nice about this lightness here is I'm going to come in and put a lot of darkness in around it, but I now have areas to reserve where I can say, oh no, it's going to be light here. I'm going to get into my burnt umber and phthalo green a good bit. Making loose marks. Go into my yellow, my nickel Azo Yellow that's all greened up right now. There's some brighter greens that are happening. I mixed in some green to my orange. Look how we are making little marks straight across, make marks straight across, and allow the paint to rest and settle into the colors around it. Allow some of this, not all of it, you don't have to do all of it. I'm going to get some Quinacridone Gold, but allow some of it to develop. Allow some of it to kind of find its space and place. All right, little potential kind of bushes or whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Very dark green over here. So I'm making irregular marks, and I've let the brush be sort of flat,
Mm-hmm.
and that's given me like some shape to work with.
Ah, made a little paddle.
It did. It made a little paddle. And, you know, what will happen is when you're painting, you'll have little moments like that. Technique is when you know you need that moment and you can duplicate it.
Mm-hmm.
To quote Bob, the happy accident is when you have no idea how it happened, but it worked out.
Yeah.
Right? And it often will work out in art. But what you want to start turning is you want to turn those unexpected, unplanned moments into tactical skills that you can employ when needed.
Mm-hmm.
I like that back hill. I don't want to do that much more. I don't want so much going on in the back hill that, you know.
You got to work on your foreground.
You got to work on all kinds of grounds.
The middle ground,
I'm going to get some of my pink and brown. And
the in-grounds.
I'll go ahead and kind of just talk about a rock face there. Right? A little rock face there. Green. Distance from the village, the objects are less in focus, less realized. All right, so we've got, let's put out, I'm going to put out a little ultramarine and some burnt umber together. And the reason I'm going to do that is they make a very lovely gray. I also have Payne's gray, but it gives me some options in my stones with what I've already kind of got on the palette. And I think there's some nickel Azo Yellow right there next to it, so it's good. All of this paint is good until it's like, it's good till it's gone kind of a thing. So sometimes it's nice to have a fixed palette like what I have, because it lets you really sort of play and think about space and not be throwing unexpected wrenches in the palette, right? Like, you know, I've got these colors, and so you start to learn them, and then if you put them in different places on your palette, they're not confusing you. I'm going to just start with sort of this light gray wash. Remember, there's water between these rocks, so you've got to leave room for that. And I'm pre-wetting just so that when I come in, I've got some soft technique that I can do before I get into my hard techniques. We'll be very light with this. I come in and almost get some pink. I know that's surprising. But when you can see when I mix it in, it kind of just gives me that pink stone. I'm going to add a little of that pink to the spot above the arc here.
Mm-hmm. Just
to warm that. A little pink there. So we're creating little boundaries, little thoughts of areas. come down with a little bit of the gray mix, but with more blue on it. See how we did more blue? And I'm leaving a lot of this like with white, and I'm not painting it in so that it can be fresh and expressive. And those little pops of not painted areas create value changes that are exciting and fun to have in the picture. So there's a part of me that wants to go back up to up here. Just make sure that's a little darker against that sky that's next to it. Just so it pops a bit. That's why I did it. Going to maybe get a little of this. Come here and add some purple or whatnot to a little of these buildings here and there. Just pop a color. I'm also going to get a little of my ultramarine blue. So in here, right, there's sort of this landing, and there's these little boats. I don't want to paint the boats, but I liked the pop of blue, so I'm going to add the pop of blue. And that kind of speaks about the boat, but it isn't the boats. Get into my gray. So there we go. That's very nice and loose and light, isn't it? It's all having a little bit of a dry. Well, it's all having a little bit of a dry. I can even do some interesting things here. I can come in and add little details. See how the buildings can have little details?
Mm-hmm.
Has to be dry. You don't want to do even your waterproof ink on anything that's got that's still wet. And it's sort of fun because you can add these little architectural elements or spaces between the streets or loose little see, just once the wash is in, you kind of can enjoy the lines and decide where do I want to put a little bit of detail in this sort of out of focus space.
That looks really cool.
Right. Who doesn't like a little bit of detail in this out of focus world? I do. I do. Now, I think I'm going to switch to my bright. I'm going to get my gray and brown together, and I'm going to come and do some dry brushing, little textural dry brushing. Because we have these rocks that we can now talk about. You can even get into the maybe the gray. Oh, I don't want the road to have that texture, so I'm going to soften that with my brush. I'm going to come in with my round brush too and make sure that there's a bit of a shadow right here. Because there's some structure to that space that I don't want to lose. Little gray. Scam Likely still stalking me?
It is Scam.
Scam Likely's in love with me. Can't get over it. I don't know what I did, but I apparently broke Scam Likely's heart years ago. And they just keep blowing up my phone. Okay, do you guys want to know something kind of terrible and horribly embarrassing?
sure.
Well, it was just so foolish. It was so funny. So last night I get this call, and it is not a call, a text, and the text says, it says, "Hey, so and so, we were supposed to see each other when I was visiting my mom last time, but stuff didn't work out, and I'm back in town, and I was wondering if you'd like to give it a second and try to get together." So I was like, "Oh, this person's gonna think that the friend didn't want to see them, and so." They will feel all bad, and then it won't be that friend's fault because the friend will never gotten the text. So I thought, you know what? I'm just gonna take the time to write them and say, "Oh, you've just got the wrong number. You should see if you can find their number somewhere else." And so I write this. I'm like, "Oh, hey, I think you got the wrong number. You should try to see if you can find them through family friend or something." So then I get this really weird text back. I'm like, "Oh my gosh, you're so nice. Here I am texting a strange man and you're not being mad at me." And then a picture.
Mm-hmm.
He was a bot. He was one of those phishing bots for, that. And I don't know why I didn't see it. I was like so concerned about these friends who were supposed to meet up. Oh, Scam Likely's gotten so smart. I'm using this rough dry brushing that I've loaded with my gray and my brown. And this is letting me create some nice, wonderful little rock textures that I can enjoy. I can come in and get some Quinn version of it and kind of add those in, see how we can do. It's really great. Yep. Here I was just concerned. I mean, I had imagined all kinds of things like, family, friends, and then this person was going to get yelled at by their family for not reaching out, and they will have reached out. I just didn't want them to have that experience. And then I was like, I wonder if that speaks more to my youth than anybody else's. The idea that this could be a terrible scenario that had gone awfully wrong. I'm just going into the gray. Making sure that I've got a nice little, you see how we have a nice little rock texture there? That's wonderful, isn't it? We can create a good rock texture here. I can kind of just bring the brush around randomly. It's very rough. I'm making rough little marks. You can also come back with a pen, by the way. I'm just using this dry brushing and a little bit of paint to kind of imply some dimensionality in the world that's going on. Now I'm going to come along this, and I'm going to make a little stripe. I'm going to try this little interesting technique. Do it with me. I don't know quite how it's going to work out, but let's have a go. And I'm going to bring a little blue. Along the edge of the rock, because if you look, there's like this interesting sort of blue-gray coming along those rocks, and then I'm going to get a lot of Payne's gray. And that is like that weird water line in those rocks that I thought that was a fascinating water line, and I wanted to do that. I don't know. Capture that. I'm going to go here and kind of get it again, but with not the blooming. I'm going to add some dark to these little rocks here because they're darker. That's the Phthalo Blue and the Payne's gray. I'm going to make some kind of loose marks and talk about the shadows of the stones very loosely, but I'm allowing enough of the light to show that they have their form. I might come and add a few places that we add shadows because things cast shadows. Shadow under the arch, that helps, doesn't it? Mm-hmm. A little gray back here to sort of pull the houses apart. It did a wonderful job of going into the city, adding mystery into the city. I'm going to add some short, rough marks there with Payne's gray, kind of implying a little stone wall. I'm going to add a little shadow in these rocks. Just a couple places so that they have just a little form, right? Come through with my gray and also very loosely and carefully, without taking out all my light, sort of loosely paint those rocks. So now we have the village, and now we have this nice little forward little seascape, which is kind of totally tremendously fun. A little pink. And a little color there. Why, you say? I don't know, because I just want a little color. Wanted it. Guess what we get to do now? The ocean.
Ooh.
All right, so there's some wonderful white kind of happening around the rocks, and I don't want to lose all of that. And so what I'm going to tell you is we can put it back with paint, right, with gouache or bleed-proof white or jelly pen in white or a white pastel pen. We can put it back. We can scrape up the paper. We can reserve it with Frisket. I think I'm going to put it back with paint today. Because I kind of really want to enjoy painting this little bit of water. And I can do this right now here because my rocks are dry and they're not going to bleed into the water. Though I have to tell you, if they did, it wouldn't bother me that much, especially in watercolor, because sometimes it's nice when zones of your watercolor kind of encroach on other zones of your watercolor. You know, in acrylic, that can be really upsetting, but in watercolor, that's actually, ooh, that's a nice little moment that happened there. So you're not necessarily always against that. So I'm going to take a little of my Ultramarine Blue and a little of my Phthalo Green together, mix these two. Make sure that there's just a little bit of water traveling through this canal area. Out to here, like you do. I'm going to go back and forth and loosely paint in this little ocean that's here. And I'm going to let the watercolor do what the watercolor does, which is great. So I'm coming with a little ultramarine and a little bit of the ultramarine Phthalo Green mix, which is super lovely and aqua. You know, kind of to the edge. I don't mind that. In watercolor, you don't have to paint every part of the paper. You don't have to paint to the edge. You can leave whole parts of it unpainted. Some of it can just be undone. Tell me you don't love that just a little. I'm going to add a little.
Super awesome.
A little of the Quinacridone Gold to this. And add a shadow underneath the hill. Come back with a little blue. It's a pretty deep shadow. And you know it's going to lighten a little bit, so you've got to think about that some in its color. Let's let that be. A little bit of loose. I'm going to come here, however. Get a little bit of my nickel Azo Yellow. Let's come down. Pop a little orange along my rocks, just a bit, like the sunlight caught them just a smidge, right? Maybe it did. Back into our interesting aquatic color. And maybe coming forward, maybe some of that is still, maybe some of that got a little bit past the rocks. Do you see that there? Oh, that's a neat story, isn't it? And maybe some of our purple kind of showing in the water a few places. So now I'm thinking a little bit about my sky and its impact in the water and world around it. Right? Water is a mirror. If you paint with me on the acrylic channel, water is a mirror. It reflects the objects and space and life that is around it, what's affecting it. And so we have to always be aware that when we're painting it, there will be some type of impact. And if it's still wet, I can do this very subtle little bit of that impact. I like coming over the rocks a bit. It might. Paint that and make sure that's a little bit more straight out. Little Hansa yellow here, perhaps. Little marks of the yellow kind of to imply some water. Little short little shadow marks. I made it a little bit green, but I'm still allowing some of it to be very just wet and flowing and expressive. And what's nice is unfinished here and unfinished in a couple places allows the painting to have that feeling of just sitting on the beach and taking a quick watercolor sketch. Right? You could do this. You could sit there and just draw a few little lines and think about it and be like, you know, I don't know, like just have some fun and right.
So
telling
pretty.
the story of this village that you visited.
I like this village.
A nice village.
It looks like Fraggles live there.
Fraggles probably do live here. I mean, or if you watch Troll Hunter, maybe there's some trolls under this bridge. We don't know. I can come in and add little lines if I feel like something is just missing. Right? As long as the paper is dry, I can add a few. I'm not trying to make a comic book. I'm not trying to do any of that. It just can be nice to add a few little character lines. Yeah, I think about it a lot. You know, how would we characterize this? How would it be?
The rock's like, I'm a rock. What do you mean characterize me?
You got to do what you got to do, man.
I'm a rock.
Now, if you want, I don't want to do the bleed proof. It's kind of, I'll do acrylic because I have to scoop the bleed proof white out. One of the things, if you get this type of jar paint, you don't want to put your brush in it ever. You want to remove a little of it with a clean tool onto a palette or another location and then work it. Otherwise, you can introduce mold and bacteria to your paint. I'm going to put out just a little of acrylic. I'm just using a little angle brush, just something that I have control over, and I'm going to just apply a little bit of white. I could have, again, used Frisket to hold the paper, to hold the white. I could have scraped with a X-Acto knife the paint and the paper up, revealing little moments. I didn't feel like it. So now I'm just giving ourselves just a little churn, maybe. Not a lot, just some thought. There you go. So that's what I would do if I was going to do it and just have some fun doing it. And I hope you had some fun doing it.
Ooh.
And I hope it didn't feel like, you know, like I hope it felt doable. I hope this type of thing was like, it's kind of interesting and doable. I kind of enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I kind of enjoyed it too.
I enjoyed it.
You know.
Now, can you use the same kind of brush for acrylic on watercolor?
I wouldn't.
Yeah,
you can.
They're kind of different.
It won't explode.
No.
The differences between a good watercolor brush and acrylic brush is generally a good watercolor brush is a natural hair or a filament that mimics natural hair, which means it's going to hold a lot of water. A lot of that water will be in the belly of the brush. The brush will be very soft, and those qualities make them not ideal brushes for acrylic. On top of that, acrylic breaks down natural hairs, makes them brittle, makes them break, makes them wear out very quickly because of the pH level. And then also it gets in the ferrule and blows out the brush. So if you're very fastidious and you have all synthetics and you can keep them clean, you could probably go back and forth, but they're not really made for that, right? They're not really designed to go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. They are really specific. Like, I would never put my oil brushes, you can't ever use your oil brushes for acrylic. You shouldn't use your acrylic brushes for watercolor. There are multimedia brushes that kind of go from that bottle acrylic to some like regular watercolor paints, and they are synthetics. If you have those kinds, just wash them out very thoroughly. You want them to last a longer amount of time. But for good watercolor brushes, I would just leave them watercolor. All right, guys. So if you want to enter the contest and have a chance to win pins, I'll post the full rules and terms and conditions, like over 18, have to live $35 of shipping away. Like, we'll do it globally within the distance of $35 worth of shipping. You know, and you have to be able to get mail, and it has to be not prohibited in your area. Those kinds of things, those kinds of rules. Not affiliated with YouTube or Facebook in any way. Do you want me to get the pins done? The enamel pins? They're on the table over there.
Hold on a second.
You want to show me? So there's 2 enamel pins, and we're going to, using a random comment picker, pick 1 viewer from YouTube and 1 viewer from Facebook. And they're Art Sherpa, and they're not even available in the store or anywhere yet. It may not actually be available in the store anywhere yet. They may only be parts of kits or other things. So we had a little bunch of these made. And they're enamel pins, and so 1 viewer on YouTube will get 2, and 1 viewer on Facebook will get 2.
Yeah, no secret. These are super high-end Pin Wizard pins.
Yeah.
You can flip them over, and you can see they're made by Pin Wizard.
Pin Wizard pins.
They're really good. They're the best ones they could do. They actually had to do a special run for us because we used too many colors on, well, everything.
Yeah, this one was just,
other one too.
Almost broke them.
They were like, you know, this has more colors than we normally offer. We're totally into doing this.
They did it. And
yeah, they were way into it. They were like,
Pin Wizard.
It's just like, no, yay, Pin Wizard. Their guys are awesome.
This one even says Art Sherpa on it.
No, they really
just,
they did some extra work, and these are nice pins. They
like
really are nice.
Nice. So what you want to do is you want to leave a comment. If you're on YouTube, you have to wait for me to be done being live. The live is over. The comment section on YouTube will open up for you guys to leave comments after the show. Leave a comment with the hashtag #TheArtSherpa in it. If you're on Facebook at any point during the live, you can leave a comment for in the hashtag #TheArtSherpa. I think we're going to keep doing giveaways for a little while. When I post the rules on both the video on Facebook and on YouTube, it'll let you know when the contest is over and how it'll be announced. And you know, no purchase necessary. You don't have to subscribe or anything to be entered. It's just, you're here and you watched and you left a comment. That's good enough for us.
Well, then
right?
give you a pin.
And you get a
Or
pin.
2.
or two. And do you guys like these watercolor lessons? Should we keep them going? Should we keep them going? Now, we might have a little bit of a watercolor break. I don't know if I'm going to pre-record some lessons or I'm going to just be, we will be back though. Like if it won't be anything more than 7 days. I just haven't figured out the ongoing schedule on where we're going, which is why it's not on the calendar. If you want to know what is coming up live for our acrylic channel or our watercolor channel, the Art Sherpa website, www.theartsherpa.com, has a calendar. If you go to the calendar, you can search month by month and year by year. So you can find Acrylic April 2019 by just going to April 2019 or 2020 or 2021. So you can find those programs there. You can find, any past events, 13 Days of Halloween, any of that using that way. If you know the time of the year, you can also see anything that we've scheduled out. So like, I think I'm scheduled out to mid-September. The bird hop is not posted, but it is happening, which is September 11, starting at 1 p.m. with my mom. And I think we have the birds picked, so I know what I'm painting. The vicious voting on that. Not vicious. You guys were actually really supportive of each other. But the voting was wild. Take care of yourselves. I really appreciate your time. I appreciate you spending this time with me. I know it's a long time to hang out. Be good to yourselves. Be good to each other. And I want to see you in an easel really soon. Bye-bye.